You know it as well as I. 60 Minutes correspondent Lesley Stahl has covered the White House, been on the front lines of terror, come face to face with gorillas, all of which one could argue may have been mere preparation for what she says is the role of a lifetime that came after the birth of her first grandchild, which in turn helped to inspire her new book, Becoming Grandma. In it, Lesley says, and I quote, "She was blindsided by a wallop of loving more intense than anything I could remember or had ever imagined. She is good enough to join me now." And
Josh.
boy, it's the best thing I think a writer can say to another. I'm jealous for those turns of phrase that you turn. Just so much. I mean, this is a vast sea, but as to encapsulate it all, the difference for you, and based on your research, between being a parent and being a grandparent is?
The word vast is the right word. As a parent, you're just so worried all the time. You're constantly in a state of maybe close to panic. Am I doing a good job? Are they going to get sick? Am I going to forget to pick them up? Did I forget a doctor's appointment? Whatever it is, as a grandmother or grandfather, you are just free to be there in the moment, listening to them, loving them, playing with them. And you know, the reward for us is that they love us back.
Yeah. The idea of love without responsibility.
Exactly. Pure.
But it's not necessarily that you're a redundant caregiver, however. There's a specific, I mean, that's a specific role that you just talked about, the ability to give only love, right?
Well, it's even greater than that. If you stop to think about history, I mean, history going back to the Stone Age, grandmothers raised babies, and they continued to raise the babies because really the women did work all that time, up until really the Industrial Revolution, which is no time in history, just 100 years ago.
An eye blink.
An eye blink. But we are meant to be in those children's lives. We are meant to be, that's why we exist. You know, you say, why are there grandparents? Other species don't have them.
That's absolutely true.
Right, only elephants and whales and us, that's it. The only grandparents, grandmothers. So we have a role, and the role is to help with those children. And what I say in the book is we need to go back to that, not only for us, but for the children, and now for the parents, because they're both working. They really, and we're the only ones they really trust. They need us to babysit. They need us for our money.
Which is what you found too, that baby boomer grandparents, baby boomer grandmas are different from those of a previous generation.
Oh, yeah. Well, we worked. That's number one. And so we missed out a lot in watching the development. So we come around as grandparents and we say, oh, wow, you haven't seen this before. Little Johnny, the first time he ever drew something on a piece of paper. It's a second chance for us.
Watching the piece on 60, to see the love break across your face when you were Skyping, for instance. You know, this is a face that we've seen stare down despots and be on the front lines. It was clear that this is something that you cherish. I know you also reached out to some friends, people I've had the great pleasure of knowing, Diane Sawyer, Whoopi Goldberg. I was reminded, in fact, of the way Diane talks about her twin little ones now, in the same way in watching you. What surprised you when you became a grandmother?
Oh, well, that emotion, that elation, the physicality of it.
Yeah.
Almost everything surprised me. And that my relationship with my daughter got better. It was always great. It was always great. It got even richer. And what surprised me the most in writing the book, was how many grandmothers and grandfathers are not allowed to see their grandchildren.
This is, I mean, based on what we've said, this was a fascinating thing, and the reasons are endless, I suppose. But what is what is that? Because that seems to be a cultural disconnect.
Oh, it's worse than that. It's, I guess, if you have tension with your parents, which so many do. I didn't have a great relationship with my mother. But then to turn around and say, you can't be near my child, you know, you weren't a good mother to me, so I'm not letting you be near my kids. That's ridiculous. Grandmothers are nothing like mothers. We grandmother in such a different way that you can't say, oh, she did this and she's going to be like that with my kids. We turn to mush balls.
Yeah.
We all do. And I know it surprises our children to see us being so indulgent when we were so strict, but we don't know ourselves. We're in awe at how we're acting ourselves. Those little ones just turn all that strictness off. They turn the word no off. If they want something in a store, or they want 10 things in a store, you just...
And if you hear lolly, which I know you've been christened, I'm sure that is that's an express lane to whatever it is I need.
Exactly. And I discovered in the research that baby boomer grandparents are spending 7 times more on grandchildren than grandparents did just 10 years ago. 7 times more than grandparents 10 years ago. And we're sending them to school, we're paying for their medical bills, we're straightening their teeth, and we're buying stuff, and I don't mean toys. We're buying cribs,
providing
car
lives.
seats.
You're providing lives, and you're providing the very best of you, hopefully, as a parent now. I know what my granddaughters meant to my mother. I know what it did for our relationship as well. It is an endlessly fascinating subject.
It improved your relationship as the father.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Wow.
It was just soft and warm and lovely. It was terrific. And so's the book. And I really thank you for spending some time with us.
I thank you.
Lesley Stahl, it is Becoming Grandma, the Joys and Science of the New Grandparenting. My ode to Mr. Letterman. There we go. Camera one. Lesley, thank you so much.
Thank you, Josh.